Let's vibe, let's roll, let's get it. Whoa, shawty showing out, throwing on the dance floor. Fashion killer, huh? You don't give a fuck what a nigga gotta say or a bitch. What?
Hey you guys, it's Naimahrae and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the fam because we stay litty over here. And if you're a returning viewer, hi, how are you guys doing on this very lovely day? As you guys can tell by the title of this video, your girl is back with another story time. And y'all, like, this one is just, it's actually like, every time I think about the situation, I laugh because I thought I was delusional, but clearly there's more people out here in the world that are more delusional than me. And like, it's a long story, so I'm not gonna ramble. I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. So this takes place at one of my jobs, and I met this guy. We're going to call him Plant, okay? This is exactly how I met Plant. I go to the back door because our delivery guy was there. I was getting our shipment. I opened the door. Plant worked next door. He was part of the stock crew or whatever, and they was always in the hallway. I feel like I had never seen him. Maybe I saw him once or twice before this interaction, but I don't really remember. I see Plant, I see all of his crew, like his crew and like all his coworkers and everything, and I'm just trying to get to our delivery person so he could get through the hallway because they was taking up the hallway. So as soon as I open the door, Plant is like, "Hey, how you doing?" "Hi, how are you?" I'm good. I was feeling kind of shy because there's a lot of people in the hallway, so I was just like, "Okay, hi." And he was like, "Oh, are y'all hiring?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're hiring seasonally. Like, you know, we're actually looking for a stock crew person." And he was like, "Oh, bet, I'm gonna apply." Now, mind you guys, I was taking him seriously, but at the same time, I wasn't really taking him seriously. So I like walking to my manager. I was like, "Oh, there's this cute guy from next door that want to apply for a job. Like, we should go for it." And you know, I didn't really think. I honestly thought that he was just trying to talk to me, but at the same time, I wasn't sure because, like I said, all his coworkers, like, the hallway's full. So I'm just like, is he just being really bold, or like is he trying to make friends? Like, I don't know. I didn't think that he was being serious, right? He asked me what company it was. I tell him, he's like, "Bet, I'm gonna go on the website and I'm gonna apply." I was like, okay. Like, you know, I didn't give no more detail because I'm just like, this man, he's not really being serious. Like, he's not really gonna apply. He was being serious. So I think maybe like a day or two later, he comes into the store and he's like following up with like, "Where do I apply at on the website?" Like this, that, and the third. I was like, "Oh, you were serious. Okay, I respect this. Somebody about that money, period." I think every time he came into the store, I wasn't there. And I feel like he was specifically looking for me because I was the manager that opened the door. And he was like, I remember he did ask, he was like, "Are you a manager?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I feel like that was just good enough for him. He was like, "Okay, bet she a manager. Like, it don't matter what manager she is, she's a manager." But let's not get it twisted, y'all. I do not handle hiring. I do not handle firing. Okay? Don't handle any of the employee hiring situation. That is above my pay grade. One of my coworkers, she came up to me and she's like, "Hey, Naimah, like, there was this guy that was asking, like, for you, pretty much. Like, he kind of described you, so I think he was talking about you." At this point, he didn't know my name, and I didn't know his. And I was like, "Oh, I know who you're talking about." I was like, "Yeah, I actually need to go see him because he wanted to apply for a job here, but like the post is not up yet," and da-da-da-da. It was like a whole thing. So I ended up going to go see him. I learned his name. He told me his name was Plant. I told him my name was Naimah. Boom, cool, right? Everybody is situated, done, right? As the days go on, Plant proceeds to follow up with this job probably like, if not every day, like every other day. Like, he was in the store asking for me or asking for a manager or just somebody to talk to about where he could apply at and da-da-da-da. My coworker, who we're gonna call, let's call her Happy, okay? Happy is just chatting it up with him. And I don't know if I was on break in the back. I don't remember, but I think they called me. They was like, "Oh, somebody's here to see you." And I was like, "Oh, who?" So I come out there and it's him. I'm like, "Oh, hey, Plant." And he's like, "Hey." And Happy's like, "Yeah, I was just telling Plant that, you know, for him to get the job here, he has to do X, Y, and Z, this, that, and the third. He's gonna be working with you, da-da-da-da." Now look, Happy was trying to hook me up, y'all. She was trying to hook me up because the one thing that I will give Plant, the props that I will give him, okay, annoyingly, is that he was a really attractive guy. Okay, he's a really attractive guy. He looks really good. I can't take away people's looks. I can't. He's a cute guy. He's a cute guy. You saw him and he was like, "Oh yeah, he's cute." Like, he just was that type of person. Okay, so she was trying to hook me up. It's because she already knew that I thought he was cute. But I told her I wasn't really like, you know, I'm like, "Oh, you know, I'm not gonna do that, especially if you try to work here. Like, he'll be my coworker. I don't do coworkers. Like, no." Like, you know, I was really trying to brush it off. She's like, "Oh yeah, I told him like that he could text you about any questions that he has, da 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 da." She proceeds to have us exchange numbers, right? Mind you guys, I am not the not the hiring manager. So she really just had us exchange numbers simply because she trying to hook us up. Happy was, she a real one for that. She a real one for that. It was a good cover, I'm not gonna lie. That's how it started, right? That is literally how it started. Started very work-based. Guys, I need you guys to understand that. Will I be honest and tell you guys that I did text this man about stuff that was not work-related? Like, I wanted to know what his zodiac sign was, just because I'm like, if you're gonna be working here, I need to know. Are we gonna mash? I did ask him that, and then like the question just kind of flowed from there. He was like, do you always text people random questions? I was like, well, yeah, like if I have a question, like I'm gonna ask it. And so I guess that prompted him to start doing the same, because then he started asking me questions. So at this point, we're slowly starting to get to know each other over text. And in the meantime, he's like coming in, trying to get everything situated with like the job application and everything. So by the time he started the job, guys, I knew kind of a lot about him. Kind of a lot. I'm not gonna say too much, but like we had like all the small talk conversations. When he finally starts, I'm like a little on the nervous side. I'm not even gonna cap y'all. I'm a little on the nervous side because at this point, like we didn't build, like, I guess in my head, a friendship. Okay, maybe I'm tripping. I feel like if you're getting to know somebody, like, you know, you get to know their taste in music, like you guys are texting back and forth every day. You know, you're getting to know somebody, right? Because you want to get to know them. Otherwise, if it's a text, guess what you don't have to do? You don't have to answer. You don't have to carry on a conversation days on end. You don't have to do that unless you just want to talk to somebody, right? Right. When he starts, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I hope that I can keep it together and keep my composure. Because at this point, I'm like, first of all, not only am I this man manager, but he's my coworker. And I don't do coworkers. I try to stay away from coworkers because I have seen it go wrong for a lot of people in my life. It just never ends well. It always gets messy. I'm like, you know what? Like, maybe he could be a cool friend. He's an attractive friend, but he could be a cool friend, right? He starts, everything goes well. I train him. We start to get to know each other a little bit more. We talk a lot about relationships and how we are in relationships. He's let me know that he has been called toxic and that a lot of his ex-flings, he never said ex-girlfriend, he said ex-flings, did not like him, okay? That's a red flag. That's a red flag number one, right? But what does Naimah do when she sees red flags, guys? She looks at them, grabs them, and throws them to the side and acts like they don't exist, okay? We actually kind of have a decent amount of things in common. I'm like, okay, like, not only are you cute, but like, we actually have stuff in common. Like, I know that's our period. And he asked me to go out with him a couple of times. One of the times I couldn't go because he asked me after the fact. He was like, oh, I was going to invite you out. And I was like, but you didn't. So, and then the other time he had asked me to do something like while we were at work. He was like, oh, you want to come tonight to this thing with blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, like I can't because I'm doing something. But mind you, he asked me to go out twice. Two times. He asked me to go out twice. The first one I will let slide. It don't really count because it was an event that already happened. It was like, oh, I was going to invite you to. The second time, it was definitely an event that was happening that he invited me to, okay? Let's get that established, guys. He invited me to this event. Couldn't go. I had something to do. We are vibing. Maybe a little bit too much because my coworkers notice and they're kind of like, okay, like, is there something going on with you and Plant? Like, do y'all got something going on? I'm like, no, like, you know, we're just friends. Like, you know, y'all be flirting all in the back room, da, 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 da. And I'm just like, no, what are you talking about? Yes, we did. Yes, we definitely did. However, I also will say we both since we talked so much about relationships, we did also discuss the fact that a lot of people confuse our friendliness or flirtiness. And because I knew he was like that, and I'm also like that, I could tell the difference. Because I'm the same way. So my coworkers start to notice, like, okay, there's a bit of a vibe here. Like, it's getting a little, like, do y'all have something going on? And another thing that contributes to this is that every day, if not every day, every other day, very often, okay, very often, he would come into the store and he would ask if I was there. If I was not there, he was walking out. If I was there, he would stay and talk to me. Why? No reason. literally just coming to say hi, literally just coming to see me. Like, that would literally be the reason. Sometimes he would call me on my off days, hey, are you at work? Or text me, hey, are you at work? And I'm just like, no. And I had to tell him, I was like, you know, every time I come in from being off, somebody's like, oh, you came in asking for me. And I'm like, you know, you can always text me if you have a question. Like, if you have a question or like something's going on, you have my number. And he was like, oh no, I didn't want anything, I just wanted to stop in and say hi. I was just stopping in and saying hi. I just wanted to come visit. Okay, like, you know, I'm not thinking much of it. I'm just, at this point, I'm like, okay, like, we are vibing. I'm feeling the vibes. You feeling the vibes, Mr. Krabs? Because I'm feeling the vibes, Mr. Krabs. Can you feel it, Mr. Krabs? So this continues for like, I don't even know how long. I just know we was deep in the flirtation ship. We was deep in the work husband, work wife situation ship. He even started walking me to my car, upon request, of course, because I asked him, like, it would be dark outside, and like, it kind of started, I think we ended up closing together one night, and we walked to my car, and it kind of just went from there. It was like, he was like, well, if you need me to walk you to your car, okay, cool. So I just, can you walk me to my car, please? Period. Everything was going fine. Okay, everything was going fine. I was just trying to figure out how to keep like boundaries established, because like I said, he was my coworker and I was also his manager. I was not trying to start anything. I was not trying to do nothing crazy. I just didn't want to put myself in a tough position. But in my head, I was like, this man is seasonal, which means if he don't last past the season, everything is fair game. And I'm like, dang, I want to hang out with him outside of work because I know how I am and y'all know how I am. I was ready to just shoot, because you know what the shooters do? They shoot. And my coworker was like, well, maybe wait, you should wait and like at least hang out with him outside of work, fill out the vibe, and then you could go from there. Because I was like, we have a good vibe at work, but what if we don't have a good vibe outside of work? If that's even a thing, I don't know. I asked him to like do like simple stuff, like, because I wasn't trying to make it romantic in any way, shape, or form. So I was asking him to do like basic like errand type things, like things that wouldn't be a date even if they could try to be a date. It just wouldn't have been a date. And he was always, oh, I'm busy, oh, I'm doing this, da 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 da, this, that, and third. Okay, cool, like whatever it is, what it is. One day, because he was not getting a hint about me like with the simple errands, I just was like, I was talking to my coworkers and I was like, it was Happy and it was another one of my coworkers. I was talking to them and I was like, what is something that we could do that like isn't like romantic but can also be like, you know, can be fun and like, you know, it could, you know, break the ice a little bit. And I came up with ice skating. Ice skating can be very romantic, right? It can be, but like, I don't know. It made sense in my head at the time, guys. Okay, I don't know. It just follow me, okay? Just follow me. So I asked him like if he wants to go out and do something, and he was like, yeah, like what did you have in mind? And I was like, dang, like I didn't have anything in mind, so I had to come up with something quick, and so I said ice skating. And he was like, well, I don't know how to ice skate. I was like, well, you could learn. It's not hard, you know? Boom, whatever. And he was like, okay, like I'll let you know. That's what he said. Now I know most people when I say I'll let you know, it's a no. But since I didn't know this man that well, I was like, okay, well, what if his I'll let you know is actual true I'll let you know? Because some people, they do be like that. It'll actually be a true I'll let you know instead of just a hard no. He was saying he was supposed to let me know. The day comes that like I had suggested that we go, and he tells me like kind of at the last minute he can't go because he's doing something. And I was like, okay, cool. At the time, Naimah was PMSing a little bit. She was PMSing just a little bit. Un poquito, right? And I got a little upset about it. I overreacted. I'm just gonna be honest. I overreacted, y'all. I overreacted. Yeah, I was irritated. I was like, bro, like you said you was gonna call me back and let me know. You did not let me know. You told me at the last minute. He was like, well, it's not that deep. Like, you know, I ended up being busy and da da da. I was like, it's not even about that. It's the principle. Was it the principle for me? It was. Y'all, I am such a planner that I hate when people like do things last minute. It is literally a pet peeve of mine, and it sucks as a person who is a planner because a lot of people are not planners. So it's just something that I have to deal with, but it is very irritating. And you know, since it was that time, the irritation level went from like, oh, maybe right here to like up here. Like I was at my wit's end with him. Like he came in to work the next day, I was throwing shots. I was throwing a lot of shots. And he was like, wow, you really upset about that, huh? And I was like, it's not even that. It's just the principle of the situation. You said you was going to call me back. You didn't call me back. You said you was going to let me know. And you did not let me know until the last minute. Like, what are you doing? Did I blow it out of proportion? Absolutely. I know I did. We don't have to get into it. I learned my lesson. Let me tell y'all these two things because they're relevant to this story. One, he kept complaining to me about his nose ring because he had a stud, but you know how like when you get your nose first pierced, they put a really long stud in there so that way like it can accommodate the swelling. And if you didn't know, that's why some people's nose piercings stick out of their nose. His was sticking out of his nose, and he was like, yeah, I really need to change it, da da da, blah blah blah. I have nose studs because I used to have a stud in my nose, and then I switched the ring, never went back. So I was like, oh, I have some, like I could just bring you one. And he was like, oh, that'd be cool. Like I don't think he thought I was serious, but I really don't use them. I brought some nose studs for this sad day. The other thing that was discussed, he was like, oh yeah, I really want to pull my hair back into a ponytail. Mind you guys, he has locks, okay? I'm thinking in my head, you don't know how to put your hair in a ponytail? He was like, no, like I haven't had long hair all my life. You girls do it so easily and da da da. And I'm thinking in my house like, sir, you just want somebody to play in your head. That's what it's giving. Am I tripping? You want somebody to play in your head. But then he has somebody back him up like, yeah, no, we don't know how to do that, da, 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 da. I was just like, okay, whatever. And I was a little confused as to why he kept bringing it up. And I was like, do you want me to put your hair in a ponytail? He was like, yeah, but I don't have like the little rubber band. And I was like, okay, I'll bring one. And I was like confused. I guess he could see the confusion on my face, and he was like, oh, you know, usually my mom would do it, but like she gets tired of me asking her BS excuse. Sir, you just want somebody to play in your hair. Let's be for real. Be so for real right now. Like now I'm like really thinking about it, this situation. Like, sir, please. One of the shifts we had, like I said, was too vibey. That day I had ran into him before he even clocked in at the job that we was at because he was next door. And so I said hey to him, whatever, yada yada. We talked for like a little bit, and then I saw him when he came in. When he came in, I was like, oh my gosh, like I have a surprise for you. So I grabbed the nose studs and I grabbed like a little scrunchie out of my bag. I'm like, here, because you always complaining about your nose piercing, and then like I brought the thing to put your hair in a ponytail. So I tried to put his hair in a ponytail, didn't work out. His locks were too thick and like they were short, so it didn't work out. This entire shift goes by and me and him are going back and forth, and not like in a bad way. We're just going back and forth, like flirting, vibing. It's just a lot of tension in the air, okay, y'all? Like I cannot make this up. Okay, there's just a lot of tension in the air. My coworker Happy comes in for the day. Me and him were talking about the ice skating situation once again. And so he ends up having to explain the situation to Happy, which Happy already knew because I already told her about it. But Happy, she a real one. And she acted like she had no clue what she was talking about. And she was like, oh my gosh. She was like, you know, you just got to make it up to her. And he was like, but do you think that she overreacted? Like, why is she's so upset? I was like, it is the principle of the situation. Mind you, at this point, I'm no longer PMSing, so I really can admit I did overreact. And I think I told him that. I was like, I did overreact. But at the end of the day, it's still the principle of the situation. Like, you should just let me know if you don't want to go in the first place. Like, it just left it at that. Happy is just like, oh, well, you have to make it up to her. You got to take her out. Like, you guys got to go out and do something, yada, yada. And I was just like, yeah, because, you know, now we're even. I was like, you didn't come to what I invited you to. I didn't come to what you invited me to. We're even. Y'all, it's just like, there's so much tension in the air. It was actually like a little ridiculous, to the point where he asked me my entire shift, because I got off like probably like a smooth 3 hours before he did. And he was like, you sure you don't want to stay till 9 o'clock? Mind you, I get off at 6. I opened. He's like, you sure you don't want to stay until 9? I was like, I actually cannot do that because that's a 12-hour shift. That's not even. He's like, okay, well, do you want to stay till 7? And I was like, no, I don't. And he's like really laying it on, y'all. I mean, like putting the charm on, just really, you sure you don't want to stay till so-and-so? Like, you know, doing the little lean that they be talking about in the books. Like, you sure you don't want to stay till so-and-so? Like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, ooh, you try to get me, sir. You try to get me. Was it working? Absolutely. Would I admit that to him? No. Will he watch this video? I don't know. Finally, he keeps asking me, and at this point, I'm like about to leave. He's like, you sure you don't want to stay till so-and-so? I was like, why you want me to stay so bad? He pauses. Silence. And I'm like, hello? And he's like, I was like, if you like working with me, just say that. And he was like, T. Sir, that's not why you wanted me to stay. I don't know really why he wanted me to stay so bad, but that's neither here nor there. I don't even know, like, I don't know. I truly don't know. I get ready to leave. And he, like, literally, it was like 5 minutes. I was like, okay, guys, like, I'm leaving. Like, I'm going home. And he was like, nah, you still got 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes? 5 more? Sir, I'm dipping. I'm clocking out. Leaving. I get my stuff to go. And I was like, oh, man, it's dark outside. And he looked at me and he was like, if you want me to walk you to your car, you could just say that. Y'all, I was like, oh. Okay. Me being stubborn. No, I don't need you to walk me to my car. I'll be fine. Like, you know, it's fine. It's whatever. So I go to the back. I grab my stuff. And then I really start thinking about it. And I was like. And then I come back out there and I'm like. I actually do want you to walk me to my car. And he was like, okay, I got you. Okay. Y'all, I'm trying to tell you. You can cut the tension that was in the air with a knife, okay? I asked my coworker, Happy, when we walked out, like, I guess my other coworker was talking about us. And mind you, she didn't really work with us that often. So she was like, yeah, they act like they like each other or something. Girl, why you gotta be so loud? At this point, I'm like heavily debating. I'm like, dang, should I just go ahead and shoot my shot? I tried the whole hanging out thing, it didn't work out. Like, should I just go ahead and shoot my shot and like just hope that, you know, we can keep boundaries at work and just, you know, completely disregard all my morals and codes about dating a coworker and just like go for it anyway? Like, should I just be like, ooh, see if it goes in? Because I felt like at that point I was feeling real confident. I was like, yes, it's going to go in. I know 100% it's going to go in. Y'all, when we stood in that parking lot after he freaking walked me to my car, I didn't hug him because he really stayed away and tried not to touch me that much. And I think it's because one of my coworkers was secretly planning on my downfall. And she told this man that I didn't like to be touched, which is true. But like, from him, that's different. From him, that's different. From you, no. When we got to the car, it was like an awkward goodbye because it was like something is definitely missing, but it's probably for the best that we didn't hug because I feel like if we did, it probably would have, I don't even know. Anyways, it's not the point. So, fast forward. So at this point, I'm like debating for like a smooth like week. I'm like, okay, maybe like I should wait for a sign. Maybe I should see, like, I'm just trying to fill out the situation and see if I should shoot my shot. Now, before I get into the next part of the story, I have to say this part of the story because it's relevant, but I don't remember at what point that it happened. I just know it was before this next situation. One night, Plant and I were working together. He tells me, because he had worked at his other job first, and then he came in and worked at the job that we had together. And I will give Plant his props. He was a hard worker. Like, kudos to him. He was about his money. He told me, because he also didn't have a car, so he takes the bus and the train. And he was like, oh, like, I think I'm gonna just catch a lift home because I'm tired and I don't feel like taking like such a long ride home. Now, I get it, y'all. I always have a soft spot for people who take public transportation because at the end of the day, if you guys have been following my channel from the beginning, or at least from close to the beginning, I did not have a car. I used to have to take the train and the bus to get to work, and I have a video, like a story time on my channel of all my crazy train and bus experiences. It's not fun. So I told him, I was like, oh, you don't have to take a lift. Like, I don't mind. I could just take you home, right? Volunteering myself. And he's like, no, you don't have to do that. I was like, so you'd rather pay for a ride and I'm offering you a free ride. And he's like, okay, you're right. Like, you can just take me home. So it comes close to the time that I'm supposed to be taking him home. He's like, oh, I actually have to go to Target. Okay, Target was not even that far. So we go to Target, literally like a 2-minute drive. He probably thought it was gonna be longer because he was used to walking there, but like, it was a 2-minute drive. We get to Target. He's like, oh, I have to get this, da, da, da. So he goes and grabs whatever. We stand in a super, super long line. And then he's like, oh, I think I'm gonna just go to the gym. Now, at this point, I'm looking at him sideways, and I was like, you said you were tired. That was the whole reason why I was taking you home. I was like, but if you want to go to the gym, okay. So we go to the gym, which was in the same plaza. It's closed. I was like, okay, well, the gym is closed. So, like, he's like, well, you could just drop me off at some other place. I was like, bro, you're not making sense. You told me you was tired, so I offered to take you home, and you acting like I'm gonna be like some weird stalker and like stalk you and like find your address and this and that and third. Like, I don't care, bro. Like, I just like, either I'm gonna take you home or I'm not. But I kind of knew the general area that he lived in because we had talked about it before. So I was like, I'm gonna just head in the direction that I think your place is in, and if you decide to put your address in, that's fine. That's how I was feeling, because at the end of the day, where we was headed, we was gonna pass my place regardless. So until you tell me where I'm dropping you off at, we gonna go sit in my place, okay? So finally he puts his address in or whatever. I drop him off. That was that, right? Nothing weird about it. Literally just doing it as a genuine favor, kindness out of my heart. Also, during the car ride home, he kept telling me about his friends at his job, and he was trying to hook me up with one of them. And I'm just like, sir, I don't want your friends. And I told him that. Didn't tell him why, because I figured it was obvious why, but I just told him I don't want your friends. Like, that's not what I'm on. He also kept bringing up Valentine's Day. I told him I didn't like Valentine's Day. He was like, why don't you like Valentine's Day? And I was like, nobody's given me a reason to like it. And he was like, oh, well, I know somebody that works next door that, you know, they could really, like, you know, they could show you, like, and I'm just like, because the way he was hinting at it, I thought it was him until he started describing someone that didn't look like him. And I was like, okay, but honestly, he took so long to get to the description. I was like, I feel like you're talking about yourself. And I almost asked him, but I didn't. I'm still debating on shooting my shot, right, guys? And finally, like, I'm just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna do it. One of Plant's friends walks by, and I know he's probably watching this video. We're gonna call him Mr. Mysterious. That's what we gonna call him. Mr. Mysterious walks by the store. I see him walk by, I wave, I'm like, hey. I had kind of met him already through Plant a little bit. We had been introduced. It was a quick little interaction. Mr. Mysterious walks by. He walks by again. And then finally he comes in the store. And I'm like, hey. He's like, hey. And I tell him, like, you know, the usual spiel, like, if you need any help, like, let me know, or whatever. And so he walks around the store, walked out. He comes back later with Plant. I'm looking at Plant, and I'm like, you gonna be at work tomorrow? Because at this point, he kept calling out, and I was like, sir, you actually gonna show up? Like, you good? Like, you actually, like, don't make me upset. So they leave the store, right? I go back to what I was doing. Mr. Mysterious walks back in the store. And my coworker calls me, is like, hey, so-and-so's back out here. And I come out and I was like, hey, like, what's up? Pretty much, like, what do you want? He's like, oh, like, I just wanted to get your Instagram. Y'all, it's going over my head. It's literally going over my head that this man is shooting his shot. Mind you, this is Plant's friend. Okay, this is Plant's friend, who at the time, I didn't realize that was one of his best friends. Didn't realize that. He's like, can I get your Instagram? I'm like, oh, you could have got it from Plant. Like, you know, he's like, well, I wanted to get it myself. I was like, okay, whatever. So I give him my Instagram, didn't think nothing of it, kept it pushing. Y'all, it dawned on me later. That man essentially had shot his shot. And I was just like, he blocked me. Because now I feel like I can't shoot my shot with Plant. So I was like, oh my gosh, I need to talk to Plant. Like, I have to talk to Plant because this cannot be happening. Like, this cannot be happening. And I don't remember if me and Mr. Mysterious ended up, like, DMing, or he swiped up on a story or something, or whatever the case may be. I think he ended up swiped up on one of my stories, gave me some hard eyes or whatever. And I told Plant, I was like, you need to get your friend, man. Like, you have to get your friend. And he was like, why? He's a great guy. Da-da-da-da. Like, he's really, like, hyping his friend up. Love that for him. I was like, sir, you need to get him. He's like, why? What's wrong with him? I was like, I am not interested. I don't want him. Just know, like, I don't want him. And I'm gonna leave you guys right there for the first part of the story. I didn't intend to put this story time in 2 parts, but I looked at the time of how long I've been filming. So this is definitely just gonna be the end of part 1. Part 2 is definitely when all the mess ensues and where I will need you guys to, like, tune in for real. Like, I will try to have it up ASAP, so probably next week. I'm probably gonna film the second half very soon. So far, let me know y'all thoughts in the comments down below. Like, what is it giving? Is it giving that I'm delusional and that Plant didn't really, like, he wasn't feeling me like that? Or, like, is Plant actually feeling me? Like, I need y'all to leave comments down below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you guys have ever been in a situation like this with your work husband, work crush, whatever the case may be. Let me know. Let's discuss in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media, which is always in the description box down below. And as I stated, I will try to get part 2 up as soon as possible. I didn't intend to split this into 2 parts, but y'all, the second part of this story, you gotta stick around for it. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We'll be up soon, I promise. Okay, bye guys.
I want a chick that grind on a 9 to 5. Oh, she in them college books trying to get a rise. But tonight, I'm just trying to have a good